Hi, I'm Chris Parkin. I'm here for the night vision show, and tonight I'm going to be out using the new Sightmark Wraith. This one has the extended mount on it now to bring the whole unit closer to your eye. The previous version had the mount just underneath, and it was more suitable to shorter AR-15 rifles. This new mount works better with the bolt action rifle. Picatinny rail on it, but as you can see, quite a lot of reach backwards so that you can get the eye in place. This means now you can adopt a completely normal shooting position from any of your natural daylight shooting styles that you would use with a daylight optic. You can see I put a wicked light on top. It extends the range out beyond about 200 metres depending on the ground conditions. Great thing with a wicked light is because we can focus the beam, we can get a nice small spot with a ball joint completely coincident with the point of aim of the scope. So, Wraith's mounted on the rifle, it's on a Picatinny rail. Press the power button in the centre, it takes about 3 or 4 seconds to light up, reticle's on. So we've got a rubber bellows eye up here to keep unwanted light out, which makes it great for use in daylight and in darkness when you've got lamps and street lights and cars and things that disturb you. The internal screen focus is here, and then the image focus is here. Now we've got a target about 20 metres away, so we're going to take our first primary zeroing shot. I've been through the menu structures, I've set the time, date, etc. I've also chosen an orange reticle, just because I like orange, and chosen the reticle shape I want, which is a fairly light one without too much disturbance of what I'm seeing. It's what I would call a non-busy reticle. So let's load up the rifle and take our first shots. So my first bullet, I aimed at the dead centre between the 4 dots, and this one's gone slightly low and right. So I press on the centre power button, I then go into the primary menu. I can click down for reticle settings. I go down to the third one below it, reticle 0, and I now have my original crosshair with a diagonal crosshair, and all I do is move the diagonal crosshair to my point of impact from my point of aim. It's just scrolling down now. So vertical I'm about correct now, and I'm just moving across for a bit of windage. Press the centre button again and it saves the setting. So let's have a second shot. This time I'm aiming for the top right circle. And I've hit it just below the centre circle, which is about 2 centimetres. So 20 metres here. We're going to move back now. The clicks on the scope are 1/4 inch, which is 1/4 inch at 100 yards. Metric imperial aside, you're basically going to times that by 5 to make the correct correction at this distance, but we're now going to move back anyway, because I know if I'm dead on at 20 metres, I'll be close enough to stay on this target way out to 100 now. I always tend to walk back when zeroing scopes, especially night vision. Here you can see I'm just going to have a few shots at 50 metres just to double check I'm doing everything in the correct direction. So we're just out a little bit on the windage, but we're going to keep moving back now, back to 100 metres, and we're going to get it absolutely spot on. But I know that we're within a few centimetres of that target centre now, so I can see all my impacts. Big advantage of the Wraith, with it being full colour, daylight and low light use, it makes it so much easier for zeroing in daylight. Right, I've retreated back now to 100 metres and I'm on the bench. Sticks are great for shooting when you're hunting and in other situations, but I still like to zero from a 100% solid situation. So go into the reticle system here, and I'm going to just refine the zero now a little bit. I just hold my orange crosshair on the target, and then I just move the red diagonal crosshair to my point of impact. Windage and elevation. Press enter, it'll save it, and now reload the rifle. I'm going to take one last shot, and hopefully this one is going to be straight through the centre. After getting a good solid zero off the bench at 100 metres, I used the 147 metre muntjac target to simulate my usual foxing ranges. Quite interesting testing this gun today because it's a pretty horrible day. It's damp, muddy everywhere. It's not particularly bright now, although that is better because the sun has, we've got an overcast sky and it's not blasting straight in us now, so we've got better light for shooting and filming. But the bench is sinking into the ground, it's a little bit wobbly, and really we're testing under non-ideal conditions. But what that does highlight to me, and I'm someone who tests maybe 30 rifles a year for magazines, probably shoot 50 to 60 of them, similar numbers of optics, different types of ammunition, all sorts. I'm a reasonable shot, I'm a professional, I'm not magic. But what it says to me is that this package is so easy to use because if you'll see from the video itself, it shoots superbly from non-perfect conditions, and that to me is what a hunting rifle is all about. Because it's all very well when someone says a video and they see imperfections in technique or imperfections in form, or the first question is what was the best group it shot. Well, frankly, who cares? Because the thing is, if the rifle will perform well in non-opportune circumstances with bad shots made and blah blah blah, doesn't that make it better for every man, not just a professional? And the thing is, I've shot plenty of rifles that shoot superbly well, but on a knife edge, the minute you drift even slightly away from the centre of the road, you fall off the cliff. And this rifle isn't like that. I just pick up whatever 223 ammunition I've got. It's a 10-inch twist on this Sauer barrel. Sauer barrels are very, very good barrels, to be fair, and just shoots anything. And I would estimate, I'm not going to go measure it, but it's putting them all in the centre of target, and it's probably doing, I don't know, sub half-inch 3-round groups. For a hunting rifle, I think 3 rounds is enough, but it's actually guaranteed sub-inch at 100 yards for sub MOA for 5 rounds. And it'll do it with such ease. The Wraith sight is one that it's been sat in the cupboard for a couple of months because I lost the AR-15 rifle it was on, and it was opportune, it was more ideal for that with a short mount. Scott Country sent me the long mount yesterday, and that has really impressed me because I've now got some of the best ergonomics of any night vision system, far closely akin to a regular daylight optic that we're so used to using. Okay, it's not the best night vision sight because it's about an £800 unit, but it's a colour sensor as well, and having something that's a colour sensor makes it great in daylight and also in mid-light conditions. It's not quite as sensitive in the lowest light conditions, but put a good illuminator on like this Wicked Light and you've got a 200 metre foxing rifle. It's not too big, it's not too heavy. There's a Picatinny rail on top, so it'll fit bang in the middle on top, so you're not, you don't get wonky off balance things. I've got a nice DPT moderator on this rifle, which is doing a good job of sound suppression. And it's just a good simple tool. It's not the cheapest rifle, but it's by no means the most expensive rifle. And frankly, I think it's a great rifle because it has everything about the Germanic Sauer build quality. It's got one of the best bolt handles, if not the best bolt handle in the business. It's not too long. I can be quite forceful. Watch this now. Yep, doesn't even jam the bolt doing that. If you try doing that with something with a stupid long bolt handle out here, it's going to lock in position and go closed. I hate that. But this, look at that, even dragging it closed. And that's a full diameter bolt with a single raceway for an anti-rotation stud that's also the bolt removal catch. Lovely 5-round magazine. Oh, sorry, it's 4-round magazine this one, so it's 4+1 in the chamber. Single column, single feed. And we've got a 20-inch hammer forged barrel, which come off the same machines as all the other Sauer, Mauser and Blaser barrels as well. What else can I say? I really just like this setup. It's so simple, so effective, and it shines even when there's no light to reflect. So I just think it's a great piece of kit, and I'm really glad to be using it. This is going to be my test bed throughout the winter for all night vision thermal imaging kit, because I've got a lovely Picatinny rail on it, thank you to Britannia and Country Sports Wholesale. What's more to say? Thanks to Seiko for the ammunition, thanks to Hornady for ammunition, to Bill for the DPT moderator, to all the guys at Sauer for the rifle, to Paul at Scott Country and Cowan as well. I think the Wraith is a fantastic sight, and most importantly, it's great to set up in daylight, and you can use it in daylight. If you've only got one rifle and the budget for one scope, the Wraith fits the bill so well because you can use it for any type of hunting you want to do. And one feather really that is in its cap is in what I call the witching hour, where the light's really fading and daylight optics start to struggle. Night vision optics are also struggling unless you've got quite a lot of IR and eye shine. You don't get that much image contrast to see things unless they move. Now this has really impressed me in that sort of mid-light condition, because although it's a slightly grainy image and it's not got the greatest clarity in the world, it has got clarity and it does make animals visible to make shots on. So yeah, I like the Wraith as well. I'm quite happy today shooting kit like this because it's affordable, it's not unrealistic, it's not a £10,000 rifle, and I've shot plenty of £10,000 rifles, and I'll tell you now, there aren't many I'd give £3 for. But this, the Sauer as a package, the Keeper as a package was about £2,000 with a rail, a Minox scope and the Barton Gunworks moderator. This came as the rifle alone. This is actually going to be available in 223, 243 and the 6.5 Creedmoor soon, the Keeper rifle. And I must admit, one of these in the 6.5 Creedmoor would really float my boat as a stalking rifle. Even with a short barrel, you should be okay to get 1,700 foot-pounds of energy off a 6.5. And yeah, maybe I'll get to test one soon. So those are my thoughts for today. Chris Parkins, Shooting Sports, out in the horrible cold, wet Yorkshire muddy weather, but I love being outside, so great stuff. Enjoy your shooting.